Hey Leo, Elsie here to do your reading for the week ahead. Leo, how are you, friends? I hope you're well. Thanks so much for showing up here. I've got these oracles here and we're going to throw them for the week ahead overall energy. And then we're going to throw some tarot at them to find out the details of what's going on in that overall energy. So Leo, there's a lot of stuff going on planetarily. We are in the retrograde shadow period right now. Mercury goes into retrograde on the 15th. We've got a couple, I'm reading for March, that's why I'm telling you all this. We've got a couple of eclipses that are showing up in March. Venus will be in retrograde, Mercury will be in retrograde. Lots of stuff going on in Aries energy. If you have an Aries placement, you are my fire family though. I do have a Leo placement. It is my Jupiter sign. So thank you for showing up here, Leo, my fire family. And if you are interested in staying here, please look at the bottom right-hand corner there. There is a link to subscribe if you're interested in doing that. Thanks for showing up again. If you're the ride or die, I appreciate you. You're the reason I show up here too. Tell me about Leo, what's going on in the week ahead. We've got trust in the magic. So something is about to surprise you, I feel. I feel like you're a little bit of a cynic, right, Leo? You're always a little bit of a cynic. I know this energy really well. My son is a Leo, literally my child. And so you're a little bit of a cynic. The Raven Spirit is here and we've got sixes. So I feel like you're over some sort of really hard cycle that you were in here. It feels like you're in the sixes now rather than in the fives. 2 sixes is 12. I feel like you're now listening to your intuitive energy. You're now making decisions within yourself, in your gut, instead of listening to what other people are saying. A 1 and a 2 is 3. It tells me that you're on the right path, doing the right thing. Things are about to work out in your favor. So trust in the magic, because I feel like you're headed in the right direction. Even if you're a cynic about all this woo-woo stuff, I feel like you're headed in the right direction, Leo. We've got Bring a Gentle Touch, card number 18. 18 is the moon energy in tarot. 1 and 8 is 9, which is sort of a shamanic energy or the hermit energy. It feels like bringing a gentle touch is because you've grown in some sort of wisdom, possibly through doing some shadow work. It could be the moon energy as well. Something that you've been feeling very deeply. I feel like you're going through some changes here. By the way, happy new moon in Pisces today. This is a new cycle for you, Leo. Should you decide to make some big changes, now would be the time to do those things. Tell me more about Leo, please. We have going forward. There we go. I like it. You're going in the right direction. As I was saying, you're following the path intuitively. And it feels like it is intuitively. That if someone were to say, hey, Leo, are you on the right path? You'd be like, what are you talking about? I feel like you really are going forward and you don't even know that you are. I feel like there is, you're trusting in the magic. So you're trusting that the universe has got you on the right path and you're headed toward the sun, which is in fact Leo energy, right? You're following your own energy along the path. We've got thriving. I like it. It really does feel like you're having a breakthrough at this time. It feels like that this is a significant new moon for you, Leo. That this thriving energy tells me you now have a different perspective or a different view of what's going on in your world now. We do have the moon here. It feels like you let something go or release something. Full moons are always about the release, and it feels like it's giving you some sort of like new zest for life or a realization. It's like now you're in this new cycle of thriving. I like it. Tell me more. Last card and then we'll get to the tarot, Leo. Tell me about Leo. We've got grief. It says, I understand that losing something is an opportunity to appreciate it. And so I feel like you're leaving some things behind here. I feel like you've decided you must resolve to let go of some things, to release some things. And I feel like going to do you really well, because it feels like when you do, you have this burst of energy or a release of I now feel lighter. It feels like you're now ready for adventure. Oh, I love this. Look at that. You're healing some sort of mental chaos and it's leading you to happiness here. So I really do feel like you are on a new adventure, in a new cycle. I feel like this is what you're letting go of, it says bring a gentle touch. I feel like it means this for you, that if you are letting go of some sort of grief for some reason, you're mourning something, and I don't mean, like, it could be the passing of a person, but maybe they've passed 20 years ago and you're still holding on to it. It feels like it's time for you to move forward from that. It's time for you to let go. Not let go of the memory, but let go of the feelings of grief. We've got friendship. Maybe it was a friend that we're talking about that you had left behind. They could be in the alive state. It doesn't have to mean that they've passed on. Maybe you're just in some sort of a grieving place because you no longer have this friendship. It says, I understand that a friend is in my life for a reason, and not everybody is meant to stay. That's the truth, right? Sometimes, these karmic friendships show up and they're meant to teach us a lesson about ourselves, put us on the right path, right? And then they're supposed to leave and go on their way. So let's find out what else is going on with tarot. Tell me about Leo, please. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and Jupiter. Tell me about Leo, please. What do we need to know about Leo? Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and Jupiter, please. We've got the Devil energy. It does feel like you were stuck to something here. It feels like you were attached to it, or it was attached to you, and now you're about to head out on a new path here. And I feel like it's hard, I want to say. It's hard to get out on this new path, but I feel like you are coming to a place of new perspective, friend. It feels like you were stuck somewhere for a while, in a pause, trying to find your balance or your stability. And I feel like you've come to some sort of an aha moment or a realization that I've got to turn my back on this devil energy. I feel like you were in some sort of obsessive trap with the devil, and it could be grief that had you trapped, but it also could be maybe you were dealing with the grief with an addiction. Something you were doing obsessively was hurting you. And so it could be physically, mentally, spiritually. It feels like you are now turning your back on that, and you're on another path. I feel like it's like one morning you woke up and said, that's it, I'm not doing this to myself anymore. Because the Page of Wands is one that is kind of impulsive and is taking risks. And I feel like you've decided to take a risk to move forward, to release the grief. I feel like you've realized in your perspective on grief here that you've realized that just because you're not grieving doesn't mean you don't respect the memory of somebody who's gone. And so whether that person is still living or not, I feel like you're able to get a perspective of that you can still appreciate it, still hold their memory, still think about the good times, the fun times you had with them, but you can still carry on your path and move forward here. Tell me more about Leo, please. We've got the Seven of Cups, we've got the Sun, and we've got the Three of Swords. So the Three of Swords, I feel, is shining on, the Sun is shining on this Hanged One and on the Three of Swords. Also, it feels like it's shining on the Page of Wands. I feel like we're looking at the Page of Wands because I feel like you're at the beginning of a cycle here. And maybe you're at a place where you don't really understand what way you're going or why you're going that way. But I feel like the Sun is here to give you more clarity. It's also here to help you with a little bit of your happiness. I feel like you start to become far more happy because you've gotten a perspective on grief now, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're letting go of the memory of the person if you let go of the situation and detach from it. So the Sun is the breakthrough. I feel like you're having a breakthrough about this heartache or heartbreak. And it feels like with this Seven of Cups I feel like this is the trickster energy that was confusing you, is what it feels like. Because the devil would rather have you miserable, attached to an addiction, or a hard, like not unable to focus, doesn't want you to feel good about yourself, wants you to stay connected or attached to this negative energy. I feel like you're moving forward in some sort of very positive and abundant way here. We've got the Strength card after holding back for a while. Tell me how you're going forward here. I want to know what's on this new path for you, because this is the new path. Tell me what's on the new path for Leo, please. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and Jupiter. Tell me about Leo. We've got the World card. I like it. We've got the Knight of Swords. I like it. It's good, Leo. and we've got the Star. So look, you are in this place where you are feeling very vulnerable. And so I feel like it's the beginning of a cycle. You're feeling very vulnerable. We have people who are not wearing any clothes on the Star and on the World card. And it indicates that, this is it's a time for feeling very vulnerable or feeling naked to the world. But I feel like what is making you feel very vulnerable is that you've realized that you've got to get yourself in order. You've got to balance your emotional energy with your earth energy. So whether you have earth energy or water energy in your chart is nor here nor there, but I feel like you need to get stability. And I feel like you're going through a healing process is what it feels like. The Star is about healing, and I feel like you're healing the mind because the Knight of Swords is here. We've got the World card. This is such an accomplishment or a milestone for you. You're finally closing a cycle or a chapter of your life where you were just constantly in grief about something that you lost, and maybe the devil had you blaming yourself for it. And so I feel like you're now finally in this energy of healing the mind. I'm now going to try and get stability of the mind. And it feels like you're very focused on it or very dedicated to doing that, because the Knight of Swords is very aggressive energy. Doesn't do anything slow, does everything quickly. And so I feel like you're in this really, this attitude of, I've got to get on this path, move forward, and begin to heal. It's time to do that. I feel like you're trusting in the magic right now. Tell me about the Seven of Cups and the Devil. We've got the Seven of Swords, we've got the Four of Swords, and we've got the Hierophant. It does feel like to me that somebody could have become divorced. Divorced because you could no longer trust the situation or trust your spouse. It feels like this is what you've been healing from. And so I feel as though this is the grief. It feels like you didn't want to let go, Leo, and they wanted to let go. And I feel like you had the hardest time ever. I feel like you were still feeling very attached to the commitment, whatever the commitment is. It doesn't have to be marriage. Maybe you lived with somebody. Maybe it was a friendship, right? We do have a friendship here. Maybe that's why it's hard to let go. It's like forgiving a friend is the hardest thing ever, right? Got friendship. I understand that a friend is in my life for a reason, and I acknowledge that harboring resentment blocks the flow of love. So I feel like you decide to surrender at this point, that you've decided that you're going to surrender to the forgiveness of this friendship, because maybe you were friends with this person before you got into a relationship with them. And that's the risk we take, getting into a relationship with somebody who is our best friend, or we've been friends for a long time. We end up losing that friendship along with the commitment. You may have, it also could be that possibly you wouldn't commit, and so somebody moved along. It could be that. And so maybe you're blaming that on yourself, but it feels like there is grief in the loss of it. We've got the Three of Swords, the Sun, and the Hanged One. Let's talk about that, because I feel like there is a bit of a breakthrough here. Now you know why your heart is broken or you feel disappointed, because you've now got a perspective on grief. Because maybe some people are like, that's not grieving. I mean, losing a relationship is not grieving. It also is, right? Depending on how attached you were to the situation. We've got the Eight of Pentacles. We've got the King of Pentacles and the Wheel of Fortune. I kind of love it, because look, I feel like the universe was just waiting for you to make a decision so things could change. And when the Wheel of Fortune is here, it's destiny. You're in a moment of very deep change, and I feel this deep change is bringing you a lot of stability. I feel like this Wheel of Fortune coming up at the Eight of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles tells me that you're about to do really well in whatever it is that you do, whether you've built a business or whether you work for somebody else. It feels like an upgrade, or we're getting a promotion, or maybe getting more money. But the Eight of Pentacles could also be building a business, something that you're doing on your own. And if that's the case, you're going to get more clients. Things are about to get really busy because the Wheel of Fortune is here and Jupiter is expanding your abundance. So I feel like with the Sun and the Wheel of Fortune being here, there's just no way that you can't win in the next week. It feels like in the week ahead for sure. But the Wheel of Fortune doesn't just stop working at the end of the week. This is energy that is going to follow you through the month. Let's talk about the Three of Swords, because I feel like you have now clarity on, because this is the lesson, right? It feels like this heartbreak or disappointment was brought to you so you could understand a lesson from this. What is the lesson? The lesson is the Ace of Cups, the Three of Wands, and the Nine of Swords. It does feel like that in order to get your sleep back in track, in order for you to stop worrying about the future because of what happened in the past, you need to turn your back on it and go on a different adventure, is what it feels like. You're turning your back. It feels like maybe you feel like you're turning your back on love if you decide to get over the grieving process. But I feel like it's this grief here is going to turn to happiness for you. And it's going to turn to a lot of abundance because it's your decision to heal. Healing is a decision when you decide to change your mind, right? When you decide to heal the mind, because that's where everything resides. And so we have one sword that is being carried by the knight, and we have the Nine of Swords, that's 10. Now you can finally release it and move forward. I think that's what's happening here. So we have justice. Yeah, something's being restored here, friend. You are getting justice in the heart space energy. It's time for you to move forward with the Eight of Wands. But something here is being restored, paid back, set in your favor. I feel like things are coming into balance for you, and it's because you were able to change your mind, which I know is really hard for a fixed sign, because I'm also a fixed sign. It's really hard for us to come to this decision, but I think you come to it in the week ahead. I want you to trust in yourself, but also trust in the magic. Next week is a week when you're going to be thriving here. Yeah. All right, I'm going to go for now. Thank you, Leo, for being here and watching. I do appreciate you. I'm going to go for now, but of course I'll be back because I'm always back. You guys take care. See you then. Bye-bye.